obviously. So thank you for joining me at the Dad Bod Podcast with Corey. And today I am truly honored and have a very special guest. And go ahead and introduce yourself and give us some of your accolades, and be prepared to be complimented a lot because I think you're awesome, but go ahead.
Well, I'm from the Midwest, so my father withheld praise most of my childhood, so I actively seek it out now. My name is Maggie Seymour. I am a native of Central Illinois and a Marine Corps vet and researcher, writer, ultra runner, advocate, perhaps maybe have a touch of professional and personal ADD, undiagnosed and unscientific, of course. But yeah, so that's me. I'm a runner, I'm a writer, and I actually work for the government in the scariest possible terms that sounds like.
All of a sudden, I literally heard the clock in 24, like running as you said that, I love 24. That's literally what you said. That I was like, she knows G Power. Like she's like,
yeah. I would love to pretend that I had any sort of like really cool high speed spy job, but I don't.
Yeah. That's all right. To us, you do. That's fine.
Yeah, okay, I'll go with it.
and you forgot one accolade.
And I am
doing. I realize
7 months pregnant. I will be having my very first child in February.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I was talking about this before we started recording, so I definitely want to cover this now that we're recording. Is this year has been overwhelming with civil unrest about certain things, and that's not like you and I were talking, like that's not like a picking on a group of people. That's just unless you've had your head in the sand.
Yeah,
that's just what it's been. And so I'm very very cautious in my online time because it gets ugly quick, as we're about to discuss, but it gets ugly very quickly. And the first time I found you and I was reading your stuff, and I was so one, I was blown away, and two, I was thankful because I felt like your page was a very safe place as a Black man, and I think that's a big deal, and that should be commended. And more importantly, it wasn't just like, if you didn't have that, you've never had the stance of, oh, you don't agree with me, you suck and you're stupid. Like, I go back to what I was talking about a few minutes ago with you like we were talking about the article you had posted from the New York Times discussing that most terrorist group, not international.
Yeah,
domestic. Sorry, I was like, literally, that was the word I was stuck on. I was like in-house was not going to sound cool.
I like it. In-house terrorism.
Most domestic terrorist groups are formed by right-wing people.
Yep.
And I read the article, and even New York Times had cited their sources as well, and reading it, and I came out of it two ways. One, growing up as a Black man in Kentucky, like I went to college in Boston, met my wife in Florida, but come back here. But like, there's a part of me that wasn't shocked. It wasn't eye-opening, but it was nice to see it factualized, because I think a lot of times as minorities, my friends that are women, a lot of times we're told that our inequality is made up. We're told that it's ridiculous. We're also told what to do with our bodies, and we're told we can't vote. That's a whole different conversation. Or what everyone else calls electoral college. Anyway, so like, but we're told these things, and so to see that in that light and in that factual setting was in a very odd way comforting. I guess because then you're like, well, I'm not crazy. Like, yeah, of course. But again, rural Midwest, you walk through a small town, you didn't need that's not news. That's not shocking. But to have that to say, look, and I thought you posted it, and like all of the other posts I've seen from you, you simply posted simply saying, here are the facts, and that's it. But it baffles me that people reply with such hateful passion, like you have personally told them, like to them, to like gone in their house and said, like, your belief system is false and you're dumb for believing it. And so it seems like people come at you like this is just I hate using name calling. This is left wing, blah blah blah. Yeah. And it's like, but even in your own articles, no one's like saying
the all, yeah,
right, and no one's speaking in absolutes. There's no one saying all this. It's just that this set of hate groups were formed by these people who share similar beliefs.
Yeah, the idea that facts are biased is like, on the one hand, that's reality. Like, if you're mad that reality leans to support a certain political platform, maybe that's the political platform you should be supporting, because if that's where the facts are going, that's what you support. And the liberals don't always get it right. There's a ton of stuff, in no way am I going to say that, but the idea of but it's like the instant like, let me figure out a way that this is not credible, and it was that particular article, and I've kind of been a little bit off social media in the past couple months, just because work has taken priority in my time, but it's one of those things of like, I knew, you can tell what they're going to say. Oh, this is a left wing. No, CSIS is not. It was founded by a Reagan a Reagan advisor.
Back with that after you
Admiral, Arlie Burt,
I was loving that.
Yeah, like this is not like a commie rag, like this is how the facts are, and they weren't even. I mean, it was like 60 or 70% of terrorist activity, but it's one of those things of, I feel like, especially with national security, the right has bogarted like that area, and it's like, oh well, liberals don't care about national security, everything is, oh, you don't care about, refugees, oh, but what about the homeless vets, and it's like, guys, come on. One, you're not even doing it right, though. Like, you do not have a monopoly on caring about if this country is safe or not. And two, like, you're not doing it like the right way. Like, this is not, spending all this money screening Muslims and other brown people at the airport. That's not the threat anymore. Like, that's not, it's just not smart. It's not about a political platform, and it's not about making me feel good. And it's not really even about making certain communities, better, although that's my motivation. But even if you don't care about that, if you don't give, two craps about the guy next to you, which you should, then care about like what works, care about the effectiveness, And it's funny you say like people take it very personally. There's a group of 5 to 10 white men who almost, it's like, just wait for it, give it a minute, like so-and-so is going to show up.
And I just dropped a quarter. Let's just like, I'm not even to close my phone. Like, I can just sit here and hit refresh twice, and here we go. Like,
I almost want to start a betting pool on like how long it takes for X to respond, And it's like,
I'm in on that.
I bet I could do a
on the side
hustle. Yeah.
Like, okay, here's the list. Everybody go in and like, oh, I sign up tonight.
A few of them have dropped off. A few I have cut some people off who don't offer any sort of, that I don't have a personal connection. And the thing is, I have a lot of these people because I have connections to them. Some of them are my family members. Some of them are runners I run with. Some of them are vets. And so typically I won't cut off anyone unless they get explicitly like threatening, violent, or if they just really never offer anything of substance or value, and I don't have any connection to them. There's some people I have connection to that don't offer any substance or value, but I have connections to them. So I keep.
We all have those.
Yeah. So it's I kind of have a little bit of a system there, but there is a certain, and I feel this so strong. There's a certain group of people who have never ever been told to accommodate anyone else. They've never been told that when they go to a bar, they need to watch their drink, or when they're walking down the street, they need to not be aggressive, or when they're at a meeting, they're not too loud. Like there's one group of people that they've never been taught that they have to change anything about themselves to accommodate others. And I mean, that's not a hit on them. That's a hit on our society. That's the way our society was, right? So this isn't me saying I hate all white, cis, Christian, straight men. I am happily partnered up with a white, straight, cis man who I love dearly. He is a wonderful human being. But like you said, the facts are that this group of people have never had to accommodate anyone else. And so now that our society is starting to stand up and say, no, you will accommodate us. And by the way, we're going to stop accommodating you. They take it as a personal insult. They take it as a personal affront of, I had written an article about men not catcalling, like if I'm running, don't yell at me on the street. It scares me. It interrupts my run and it pisses me off. Like you're a stranger. I don't care what you think about my butt. I don't. And I mean, some was really upset that he couldn't compliment women anymore. I mean, how dare I tell him he couldn't compliment women? And I'm like, well,
his takeaway,
yeah,
not having someone disrespect you,
yeah,
from a car was
right.
Couldn't compliment that
right.
was the.
How is he supposed to know? Because every woman was different, and now it was unfair to men because men couldn't even go out to bars and hit on women anymore. That how was anyone going to get married because men could never approach women? And it was like one of those things of like, hey man, I'm not going to tell you that these 7 things are okay to say and these 7 things aren't, because each woman, it turns out, is different. But what I will tell you is if you say these things to people, you might get a drink in your face. Yeah. And he's like, well, that's not fair. I'm like, well, that's cool. But if I go into a room with someone who's not great, I might end up getting attacked. So, like 6 in one, half a dozen the other. These are just the way that the world works. I'm telling you that you run the risk of hurting someone, offending someone, making them scared, making them feel uncomfortable, making them angry. And if you don't care about that and you want to keep doing exactly what you're doing because it's your American God-given right to be an asshole, like, sorry, the cursing, but then go ahead and do it. But I'm telling you, like, this is not okay. And it was one of those things that I had a friend who put it so nicely once and he just offhanded, he said, how dare they, and he, white, straight guy, he said, how dare they oppress my right to oppress others? Like, and it was like, that's, for some, there's a group of people that everything is a personal affront to them.
And so currently I'm working on my second film, and it's called But You Don't Look Like a Runner, because I'm 6'2", 250. I've been running for 10 years, and there's not a month that goes by I've not heard someone say that to me. And I've been talking to a group of runners. And because of that, what's born of that is I want to do 2 more sort of running documentaries. And one, which I will probably reach out to you, but you also may be just a little bit busy, like with another human being on this planet. But one is what it's like being a female runner, and all literally everything you just talked about, and having to deal with that unfairly. And the third one I want to do is what it's like being a black runner, because backing up to what you said is, and I had this conversation literally with just someone the other day, a good friend of mine, and I said to her, I was like, look, I do hate to speak in absolutes, but I kind of feel like this is one of those, like, prove me wrong if I'm wrong. Yeah. But in the history of humankind, I don't know personally, I don't know folklore, a woman who ever had a dude catcall her from a car that was like, that's my husband. That's my dude. That is my lobster.
Great opener, man.
He's my, like, dibs. Like, he's mine. I've again, and I've said it enough times publicly that I'm like, someone call me out to, like, tell me I'm wrong. Like, I don't know of a situation that's happened. And I've had this conversation, especially this year, especially, when the video was released of Ahmaud Arbery, and that changed my anxiety because I'm a solo runner, and that changed a lot of that to this day still. And I said, it amazes me that if you're a woman, and I don't speak for women because I'm not dumb. I don't pretend to. Like, I have plenty of female friends. I'm raising strong daughters. I have a strong wife, but like, I go run at 4:30 in the morning because we have 4 kids, and it's really the only time of day I can get it in, and after school activities, like, because otherwise I would literally turn around and it would be 9 o'clock at night, and I'd be like, yeah, I'm not running. Like,
Yeah.
this couch and me,
Yeah.
a symbiotic, like, there's a symbiotic relationship here. Like, I'm not going anywhere. So, like, but that's the time I go running. On the flip side, if and I don't mean this in a sexist chauvinistic way, but if my wife said, okay, Corey, I'm going to get up and go run, I'm going to get a run at 4:30, I would be scared. I'd be so scared. And I have so many friends that it's like, and it's probably even a part of yours checklist that you don't even realize: pepper spray, hidden sharp object, this and that, like, and that is tragic, and I don't make light of that at all. It hurts my heart. It hurts my heart. Having 3 daughters, it hurts my heart. Having a ton of female friends I'm blessed to have in my life, that hurts my heart. As a Black man, I know, especially once this all came out with Ahmaud Arbery, so I have an Apple Watch, and I have an app that actually, because we're runners and we have like 1,500 apps to tell us where we ran. Because heaven forbid we can't have one because our friends have enough. So
like, we're all going to the Olympics.
like, wait a minute, you're on MapMyFitness, but you're on Strava. Like, oh crap! So I found an app, and it's like $3 for a year. It's called Run Gap, and it's an iOS app. But it actually will, when you run, it'll take your data and it'll go through Strava, training, like all of them, and it'll upload it on your own. So you don't need to do a bunch of things. Well, my wife knows specifically where to go in to see my route. And in this time since I was cleared to run because I had to take a year off from spinal surgery in January. So I was just starting to run when all this happened with Ahmaud Arbery. She's very aware that she can go in and see my route. And I, because of all this is going on, have literally run the same route because I don't want to give someone the opportunity to say, oh, well, he looks suspicious, so I shot first. And I've even said on my social media, I was like, you guys think it's funny, but that speeding ticket I got during the Clinton administration, because that's the last speeding ticket I had, is what someone is going to say I deserved being killed. And I don't mean this in a snobby way, like, I've never done drugs. I don't mean that, like, I don't judge anybody. Let's get that straight. But like, there is no criminal history. But someone's going to look.
Find it.
Or the fact that I'm public in talking about my ADHD and my mental health journey. Like, someone's going to say,
make it up, Corey. Like, they'll just make it up.
Well, you're right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, but to her, she knows something happens to me, this is my route. No one can, I'm fully aware someone can grab my watch, grab my phone, and delete a bunch of stuff, but this is where she can go in and find it to say, no, this is a route he ran all the time. You can see real-time GPS. There was no running into a house or whatever. This is what he ran all the time. And, I've changed my will in the situations. I've more than enough times when actually I feel less anxiety at 4:30 in the morning than I do when it's daylight and I go run. Because this is the thing. It's 4:30 in the morning. Midwest. If you open your door at 4:30 in the morning and get the mail or whatever, and you see a 6'2", 250-pound dude with a Knox Gear light-up vest and a headlamp on who's parked Crayon and Power Ranger running down the street, you're probably like, nah, I'm going to leave him alone. Like he's good. I don't want to, whatever's going on, I don't want to get involved. And I use that to my advantage. I'm honest about that. But during the daylight, I feel very, very susceptible. And what you said, I'm very honest about this. I don't BS things. So when I tell you that your page and your words are just like, I'm getting goosebumps now. They are always so amazing to me because they're factual. They're not, you believe in this, you're stupid. You believe in this, you're wrong. It's the article you did. Time runs away from me. So because I'm homeschooled and we're NTI homeschool. The article you had posted saying, and no, this blows the theory of all people on the left don't have jobs, because it was talking about the buy and vote of Senator. Like, I love, I'm like, I don't even know this woman, and her and her family are welcome in my house any day. Like, I'll go to war for her. Like, I love that, because the internet is the internet, and if you have a belief, you can find facts to back up whatever the hell. If I mean, realistically, jokingly, you ever type in like flat earthers? Like, there's facts like all day long. Like, if you need a good laugh. Now, I realize I probably just offended somebody that's a flat earther, and I'll pay for that later, but go to Maggie's page. Like,
yeah, it hurt. Yeah.
But it's like, you'll find facts to go along with that. So you like, and I love the fact that even when you're posting things on top of your own articles, you're not leaning, your media sources are not all on this side. Like, you're posting things from all different media sources, which again, and you said this, and this is probably going to be the soundbite I even use when I'm promoting this next week, is I love the fact that it's like, now all of a sudden, people aren't just allowing themselves to be mistreated, but now they're demanding better, and they're not going to let you. It's because it's one thing to say, and I've been public and talking about, my parents abused, that I have scars across my back. My mom put her cigarette out on my back. I've abused kid. It's one thing to be like, stop abusing me, stop hitting me, mom and dad. But it's another thing if I stand up to you and get in their face, I'm like, okay, here's what you're not going to do today. Like, I'm not, like, we're preemptively stopping it, not just a reaction to stop beating me. And I've never thought of it to put it in words, but that, to me, that's what I feel like sums up 2020, is that there are, just like, what was it in Arizona or Nevada, and I know I'm going to be wrong. That's why it's one of the two states that it was like 97% of indigenous people, of Native Americans, voted, and it was like the largest turnout. And I was like, how do people have a negative connotation or a negative feeling about this? Like, that, to me, that's like, that should have been headline celebration. And I've even said this, and I've come to your page, and to be honest, there's times I've wanted to jump in and say things, but one, I'm never going to shut someone down with the assassin-like technique that you are able to, that I have come to love and enjoy. But two, I'm 48. I'm old enough to know that whatever I'm saying in certain situations, they're not hearing or seeing my words. They're seeing the black face that's on the profile picture. And so right there, I'm less intelligent. I'm an animal. I am a criminal, or I'm hiding a criminal, and I don't know any better. So I'm so in love with that expression of saying that it's just, certain groups have decided not only they're not going to take anymore, but we're just not going to let you treat us like crap. Yeah. And but it baffles me, especially social media, because I'm 48. I'm old enough to remember the one landline phone in the kitchen that stretched in the house that could legitimately survive a fire. Like I have friends who have fires, like, legitimately can survive a fire. But like, I've never understood that negative, passionate outpouring to just yell at someone. And it seems like whenever you've posted things that I have felt have been educational and enlightening, they have never been you're wrong. And if anything might have sounded that way, it was only because someone came at you first, and it was like, well, no, here are the facts saying X, Y, and Z. And so I guess it seems, I don't know if you feel this way, it just seems like the response to us being, and I mean us not just as a black man, I mean us as any of the groups you talked about that are saying you're not going to treat us this way anymore. Like, like, I feel like now we're starting to get this pushback of that group that's like, well, no, we are going to treat you that way. And it's weird. Like there was a rally of people who said the election was stolen. Like, can that marinate in your head a second?
Yeah, this year, when you said about like people showing their true colors when they come out against something, I get it. Like 2020, it was a buildup already, and then COVID-19 hit. Everyone is undergoing a massive amount of stress. George Floyd was blatantly murdered.
And again, you have to be careful when you even say those words, because someone's about to jump on the Facebook page and tell you, well, the clerk thought he was passing a fake 20. Well, he wasn't. And
even if he was,
still due process.
$20.
And I'm here in Louisville where it's Breonna Taylor. Right. And I have heard daily people talking about, well, she was connected to someone who had drugs and this and that. I'm like, first thing, she wasn't.
Aren't we all?
And secondly, so now we're all going to be held accountable for mistakes in the past.
Yeah.
Because this population is about to get thinned out real quick.
And it does. I mean, is that how it goes? Like you made a bad decision once. I mean, I always say everyone's 3 bad choices away from prison. There's in the idea of an equal punishment that someone could just come into your house and start shooting. Like that's not. I don't care what she was doing. I don't care if she was a horrible. I don't like whatever she was doing. That's not the way our laws work. Because so if it's okay for her. So what's it gonna stop? What's gonna stop the cops from doing that to you? Your skin color, basically, where you live, your zip code, and when it comes to race, especially this year, I mean, I think we've all had our journey to understanding race in the United States, and in no way, I don't think anyone's is finished, and it's super uncomfortable. I'll be honest, super uncomfortable for everyone. More so for Black people than it is for white people. But for some reason, I had a good friend that was like, Maggie, you're just got to try, like keep talking about it. You're going to say things that are going to be wrong. You're going to say things that are problematic. You're hopefully going to be corrected and learn and go on and say another thing. But I have never been, so this is one of those things that's probably a bad thing to say. I've never been so aware of racism as I have been this year. And not because of what Black people have said, because, you could argue that I wasn't listening, but because of how my white friends reacted. And I was like,
please say that again, please. Just
the way my white friends have reacted to racial issues have made it very clear that we as a community, the white community, is really super invested in white supremacy, because you don't fight for something so hard that you don't believe in, that doesn't benefit you. And it's, I had my cousin, and it was a comment that I didn't even think was really that controversial, but he straight up said, I don't know where this comes from, Maggie. You grew up in an all white town. You probably didn't serve with that many people of color in the military. I'm like, how would you know what the makeup of my units were? And I was generally shocked. Like, what does that mean? Oh my God, you just called me a race traitor. You just said you didn't understand because I had a bunch of I grew up with white people. Like, holy shit, same thing, standing up for gay rights. Someone told me, a family member defriended me and said, I don't know where you get this. This wasn't how you were raised. Like, yes, it was. To be tolerant, to grow.
Well, to love the person next to you.
Right. Like, yeah. No, what Sunday school were you in? Because this is exactly how I was raised. And, and I could verify that because you can talk to my parents, So it was like, just time after time, someone defriended one of those constant posters. At some point, I realized he had defriended me because he hadn't shown up in 2 posts in a row, and I'm like, "Where's that?"
You're like, all right, somebody lost in the betting pool. Like,
yeah. And sure enough, I go, I'm like, "Oh, you do." So I reached out. I said, "Hey, what was this?" And he defriended me because someone had called him a racist and I didn't defend him. And it was to me where being called a racist was the worst thing that could happen in America.
Thank you guys for joining me for part one of my interview with Maggie. It's an incredible series. It'll be 3 parts. So next week will be part 2 of 3, and then the week after that will be 3 of 3. So join me in 1 week to come back for part 2. Everybody, like the sign says, do better, be better. One love.